Hey, y'all.
Hey.
How is everyone?
Good.
So, for the first time ever at a Zoom call, I have someone sitting across the table from me.
Hello.
Hi.
How's it going? This is so fun. Like it's like be live here. Yeah.
It's kind of strange. I told her she could borrow some Shakeology from me tonight. I was like, She told me when she could come over, and I said, you might as well just stay for the call.
Yep.
So she is. But, okay. I just want to check and make sure I can see everyone. Okay. Let's go ahead and get started. I know that Jeffrey will not be on the call tonight.
Did anyone join from childcare?
Not yet. Okay. I'm going to share my screen. Can y'all see that? Okay. Awesome. My husband's coming in and out, but we're going to try not to let the security sound go off a million times. Okay, so let's just go ahead and jump in. Tonight's a little bit different. We are, it's a little bit more of a motivational Zoom call. I don't even think I've ever done one of those before. And I was telling Haley earlier, it's kind of interesting that I chose this for tonight because about mid to late afternoon, I started feeling sick, like just, like body aches and sore throat. And I was like, great, like I'm going to be super motivating for everyone tonight. But I did take a bath and have had tea, so I probably should have drank some Energize before, but it's not on meal plan, I guess. But it's interesting because as of like lunch today, I did not know, I had not finalized what I wanted to talk with y'all about. And I was reading one of the Chronicles of Narnia books to the boys, and we just started A Horse and His Boy, I think is the title of it, today. And it was something that I read in chapter 1 that actually inspired what we're talking about tonight. So we can go ahead and jump into it. Okay, so I know that I posted this earlier on the team Facebook page and the Fit Legacy page, but just wanted to recognize everyone for their hard work in February. And what's cool is I had listed last week, on last week's Zoom call, what everyone's Success Club points were. And almost everybody grew those numbers in the past week. And Jeffrey wasn't even on here last week, and now she ended the month with 6. Just really, really awesome things. Cool to see. Mallory, I know, set a goal of 10 points, and she hit it last night at about 8:30. She texted me, was super excited about that, and hit that goal by signing up a new coach. So just really excited for her, proud of her. But anyways, just wanted to tell you all great job, and that we want to keep building on that this next year, and just keep working. Not next year, next month. See, we're already off to a great start. Next year, too. I want all of you to still be here. But anyways, great job in February. So just glancing at the calendar, it's pretty much the same as last week, but and something, I don't know if y'all have noticed this about March, but March, the dates and the fall on the same exact days as February, because February, has exactly 28 days this year. So that's interesting and easy. If you started a group on February 12th, you know that you'll start another group on March 12th. And I do want to stress to you, looking ahead at this, we talked about this a little last week, but these are some traits, some habits of business builders who are increasing the growth in their business by doing these habits. And the thing I want to point out to you, we're going to have this up every week, and we're going to talk about different aspects as Carl is teaching those of us in his group about them. But the thing I want to talk to y'all about and just point out here is that the increasers, they launch at least one challenge group a month. And so whether that's you starting a new group every month or inviting to an ongoing group, you always need to have a group that you're inviting people to. And so you want to come up with a system for that. You don't want to say, if I have, challengers, I'll add to the group. Just always plan on it. When is your next group starting, basically? And so for me, I'm probably going to just focus after this round ends, I'm just going to focus on my ongoing group. I feel like that fits me best. And just pouring into that one group. And so what I tell people when I'm inviting is I'm getting ready for a new round in my current group. It will start March 12th. Of course, I'm always telling people if that date doesn't work for you, you really can join anytime. But since people like a start and a finish date, that's when my 4-week round starts, is March 12th. So that's what I'm inviting to right now. And it makes it easy to check in with people and follow up with people who've told me no in previous months. I can say, okay, I'm getting ready for my next round. And I can invite to that for up to 2 weeks before, 2.5 weeks before, and say, I'm preparing for this. Is now a better time for you to try this with me? And a lot of people that join, it's usually because I've been asking for several months and just checking in with them once a month before they actually say yes. So all that to say, here is my story marketing calendar for the next week. You'll see, I'm going to be talking about the Core to Force training on Saturday that I'm doing. I'll be, I just kind of customize it based on what's going on. But everything I'm sharing about this next week is pretty basic and just kind of in the rhythm of things. And again, if I have something else that I'm sharing about in my story, I share about what comes naturally. This is only kind of something to follow if and when I feel stuck and I'm like, oh, my life is boring and very the same every single day. What am I going to talk about? Okay, on Wednesday or Tuesday, I'm going to focus on community and just kind of sharing what I love about our challenge group. So that is my plan for the next few weeks. So I kind of want to hone in a little bit on our 5th core value tonight, grit. I think that if you haven't already been experiencing the need for this, you will at some point. And we kind of defined it as, perseverance and passion, determination, embracing resistance, learning to rest but not quit, making it happen. And so I wanted to kind of dive a little deeper into this based on a podcast by Melanie Mitro. And I know that several of you may have heard it, but it was good for me to revisit it. And so I would like us to talk about it a little bit, even tonight. And I think that sometimes we don't need more information. We need to reread the information we already have and just hone in on that a little bit more. So that's one thing I would encourage you to do with your personal development is when you find a book that really, if you find yourself just every page you read saying, oh, I need that, it may be that you need to reread that book instead of going out to get another book and just continue to really hone in on how can I better embody what I'm learning in this specific book. So I think that's wise. So Melanie talked in this podcast about overcoming obstacles. And basically, she just kind of starts out by saying, like, when you're struggling with confidence, a lot of times it's because you're hitting obstacles in your business and you're running up against these roadblocks or barriers. And it might not be business related. It might be that everything in your home is going chaotic, or there's sickness, or you've got relationships that, you're just struggling with. Like, those are all obstacles that obviously affects, what we're trying to do here. It affects everything we're doing. So a lot of times that can decrease our confidence in what we're trying to do with our business. And Melanie just kind of answers this question. She puts up these 5 points and says, what can you do to slowly build your confidence in these areas that are obstacles for you in your business and just as a person? And she kind of shares a story about how she would, for a long time, just avoid situations that caused anxiety and just would, cause lack of confidence. She just would stay away from those situations. But she learned how to gradually, over time, slowly overcome those obstacles through building her confidence. And so she just kind of walks through these 5 points. And the first one being, nobody wants perfect. That's one of the things we're striving for when we're sharing on social media, when we're coaching others. I mean, when we're in community with people in our churches, like wherever, we need to be authentic. Like we're striving for that. And that's, even if we know the value of that and we know the importance of it, it can still be hard to be authentic. And we can find ourselves being inauthentic and not even realizing it. Or like Lauren and I were talking this week, and Lauren made the point, like it's hard to find this balance between, am I being authentic and transparent, or am I being negative? And just trying to like figure out, how do I be transparent with people and share when I'm struggling with certain things? And where's the line with the negativity on that? And that's a hard balance to find. But I think it's important to remind ourselves, and I feel like I have to do it constantly. If I get to looking at too many other coaches or other social media accounts, then I start thinking, well, I need to change this, or I need to look this way. Or, in our coaching, there's a fine line between looking at other coaches and seeing that success leaves clues and learning from them, versus becoming inauthentic ourselves and thinking we have to completely imitate or duplicate what we see another coach doing. And so, one example of how I've struggled with that recently is, I would look at a lot of top coaches, and, you can look at their Instagram and see, oh, they've got a brand and they've got all these pictures and they look beautiful, and there's like a color scheme and, like all this stuff. And before I know it, I'm worried more about what my pictures are looking like than I am the content of the copy, or just really being real and authentic with who I am. And so we need to know when we're going through obstacles, like people connect with those obstacles. People connect with us when we share like what we're struggling with and how we're not being, we're not perfect. Our lives aren't perfect. Everything's not solved. We still get sick. Like just because we drink this great superfood shake doesn't mean that we never get sick, or that, we never wake up just wanting to go back to sleep. Like we want to be authentic, but we want to share in that what we're doing to overcome those obstacles. Even if we don't necessarily have it all neatly packaged with a pretty bow at the end, we want to be able to say, I woke up and this is what I was struggling with today, and I went to my community, like my team of coaches, and this was the truth they spoke into me, and I'm still struggling with this, but I'm grateful, that I have these people speaking into my life. Like Jeffrey had a great post about that earlier this week. I think somebody else did too, just shared some struggles and, some text messages or some screenshots of things just in our group and how we're encouraging each other. So just remember, nobody wants perfect. Number 2 is that experience matters. And you think about, Melanie talks about riding a bike and falling down, and how the more we ride it, the more we learn balance, we learn to steer, we learn, how to continue pedaling. And so I think that's very applicable. She talks about, when you get the one no, despite the 10 yes responses, we focus on the no, right? Like we tend to forget about all the people that have said yes to us, and we focus on one no. And it's like Melanie said, her husband was really good at kind of walking her through this, because she would get a lot of people who would criticize what she was doing. And if you're doing this business long enough, you will get pushback from different people. Especially, I see it the most with people who have like drastic physical transformations. People begin to question the safety of what they're doing, and if they have an eating disorder. And I know that a lot of people have kind of struggled with that with family members, just kind of accusing them even of things that are not they're very unfair to say some of the things that have been said. But one of the things Melanie talks about is you need to ask yourself in those situations where you get pushback, where you're dealing with obstacles, are you hurting anyone, including yourself? Are you practicing what you preach? Are you promising something that is unrealistic? Are you being deceptive? And if your answer to those questions is no, then you just need to let it go. Like whatever people are saying, whatever they're accusing you of, if you're not doing any of those things, you need to let those comments go. Most of the time, this has been my experience, most of the time when people say something negative to you, it's not really about you, but it's about them and how they don't like the fact that what you're doing and how you're changing is challenging them. So rather than change themselves, they hope to feel a bit better about their current situation by dragging you back down with them. So just recognize that and respond with grace and patience in those situations. Her third point, find your circle and set up barriers against negativity. This is okay. Like, it's okay to set boundaries. And like, if someone is just being consistently negative or discouraging to you at some point, it's okay for you to set boundaries there and just to maybe even have conversations with them and say, you know, I'm sorry that you seem so against this, but this is what I feel the Lord is calling me to do. And honestly, we've had that experience, not with coaching, but with something else going on in our lives. More my husband so than me, but he's had to say that to someone. Like, I don't understand why you're so against what the Lord has called me to do, but like, I'm going to continue doing it. And the reason is because the Lord has affirmed this through several people, through the shepherds in our church, like through community. Like, we're confident in this. And sometimes you might have to do that at some point with this business or with anything the Lord's called you to do. And I'm going to read a prayer in a little while, not yet. But Haley was looking at the book. But that just is a good way to kind of frame like how we think about our business in this term, in these terms. But it's okay to set up those, to surround yourself with positivity and create boundaries against that negativity. Number 4 is huge. And this is something that I think is applicable whether you're a coach or not, like whatever you're doing in life. I think this is applicable, and it's change your state. When you are struggling with doubt, with self-esteem, with lack of confidence, with anxiety, with depression, a lot of times we sit in it, we stay in it instead of actively doing things to move out of it and past it. And so a lot of times that means going through the motions and doing things. I mean, all of you have shown, like you've exemplified this by pushing through, for one example, just 80-day obsession. Like, are there days we wake up and we don't feel like going through the motions and hitting play? Like, there have been several days lately where I'm just like, I'll hit play and she's like, are we ready? And right before she does the warm up, I hit pause. I'm just like, no, I'm not ready yet. I need to go, like, I'll make up some excuse or I'll do a story on Instagram. Like, I'm just like, I'm not ready for this. But a lot of times, I mean, that's life. It's opening our Bible on days where we feel like I haven't heard from the Lord in a while. Like, I just feel like my time with him is dry. But it's being obedient to go through the motions anyways, not just to do it, but to set ourselves up for changing our state. And so even when you aren't feeling it, do the things that make you feel good or better. So get out of bed, take a shower, drink a shake, put on makeup, listen to music. Like, a lot of times for me, it can totally change my mood if I'll just put on my shoes. Like, if I'll put on my tennis shoes, tie my shoes, I feel like, okay, I'm a little bit more ready for whatever my day is. Even if I'm never planning to leave the house, like, that was huge for me as a stay-at-home mom and just spending like hours here with little people that didn't talk back to me, when they were babies. Like, I finally realized showering, usually I would throw my hair back like this when it was wet, but if I would shower, dry my bangs, throw my hair back, like put on mascara and get dressed and put on tennis shoes, like that changed my state. It helps me feel more ready for the day. So you know yourself, whatever those things are, Like, don't just sit in that state. Like, do something to get out of it. And a lot of times for us, that is exercising, even if it's at the end of the day, whenever we don't want to. But also affirm yourself, like affirm your heart, your hard work, your intentions. You are all outstanding coaches. And I don't think it's hokey or unbiblical to tell yourself those affirmations every day. Like, you all are amazing encouragers. You care about people. Like, you seriously care about people, and the world needs more people like that. Like, that's what makes you a great coach, is you are trying to help others. You're trying to encourage others. So tell yourself that, even when people misunderstand you, even when it seems like everyone's telling you no and they just don't get it, like, just keep telling yourself, I'm going to keep asking. I'm going to keep inviting, because I have something that other people need. That's not arrogant. That's not, I don't think that's like new age weird stuff or anything like that. Like, it really does affect your mind to say those affirmations. And it took me a while to get there because I was skeptical of that for a while, but it really does matter. It's okay for you, like, and I want to make this point, saying those things, saying I'm a good coach and I am worth having people in my challenge group, I am worth people joining my team, does not mean that you're saying I'm perfect at this or that I have it all figured out, because none of us are. All it's saying is that, I don't have it all figured out yet, but I'm going to learn. Like, I'm going to continue growing. Like, I'm committed to growing with this. And so I think it's important just to tell yourself that too. Like, that's what makes me a good coach, is I'm not going to quit. I'm not giving up. Like, I'm dedicated to continuing on learning and growing myself so that I can give to others. So when you feel confident, Melanie says, you will be confident in what you're doing. So one thing, a point she made just with inviting, is like the activity that's hard for us to do. Don't sit down and invite until you have changed your state. So if you're just not feeling it one day, like, do some of the things that help you change your state so that you can, maybe you need to spend time journaling some positive things, like reminding yourself of truth or scripture, spending time on personal development. And she made the point, when you change your state, you'll change your reaction and the response you'll be getting from people. And so her final point is that pour into personal development. And she just kind of concludes by saying, like, no one can make you confident or positive. Like, that is only up to you. Whatever you tell yourself is what you're going to be. And so you want to speak to yourself the way that you want to see yourself, and then get back to work. So do those things that make you uncomfortable. Put yourself out of your comfort zone consistently. And those are the things that will change the way that your business is run. And so be willing to try them and take that leap of faith, even when those obstacles are in your way. So kind of talking about personal development, I know I shared this morning in our group text, the She Works His Way. Lauren introduced me to this. I know Renee reads the devotionals every day. I think it's like $2.99 to get the app. I didn't even know they had an app. Just learned that yesterday. But they have just like a little daily devotional that's very applicable to your life and to how you're running your business. But one of the things I love, if you just go to their website, they have these free like downloads. And this is, you can download this PDF, the top 25 books every Christian woman in business should read. And so I was just browsing through them. Some I've read, some I have not. But these were 3 that I am putting on my list to read, especially the Elizabeth Elliot one. I did not even know that one existed. Has anyone read that one by her? You've read it? Is it good, Lindsay?
It's really good. It's been a long time since I've read it, but everything she writes for the road is wonderful.
Yeah. I've read other things by her, but when I saw that, I was like, what? I need to read that. So John Acuff, I mentioned him on our video that I sent y'all yesterday, I think. He is amazing. Like, follow him on Instagram. He's just hilarious. But my boss and one of the pastors at our church loves him and is always talking about him. And he actually just read his book. He wrote this book, Start, but he just wrote a more recent book called Finish. And Nick and I have listened to him a little on podcasts, but just really, really wise man. If you hit Success Club in March, you earn a webcast with him at some point in April. So those are always really cool to be a part of. But anyways, I just wanted to point out these 3 books. You can go to the She Works His Way website. Just Google it and you'll find it easily. But you can get these 25 books list. And, I would just encourage you to pick one and let it be one of the next books you read. A lot of stuff on leadership. I feel like that's kind of something I need to read as well. But anyways, now I want to share with you kind of in conclusion, the passage that we read in C.S. Lewis's book this morning that kind of, it just really stood out to me. And side note, I did not expect to cry so many times while reading the Chronicles of Narnia aloud to my boys. Last night we finished The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and we got to, this is free, this has nothing to do with our Zoom call. We got to the point where Aslan, I'm going to try not to cry right now, where Aslan crowns, Peter and Edmund and Lucy and Susan, kings and queens of Narnia. And he says, I forget exactly what he says, but, once a king and queen in Narnia, always a king and queen in Narnia. Bear it well, sons of Adam, bear it well, daughters of Eve. And I just lost it. And Bo's like, he looks up at me and he's like, is the book over? And I said, no, just give me a minute. And he was like, why are you crying? And I said, because, and I helped connect for him. Well, I don't know if he understood or not, but I said, that's basically what happens to us when the Lord saves us. We become a part of his royal family, and nothing can change that. We're always, in his family, we're always his children, and we're supposed to live like it. We're supposed to bear his name well. And Bo's just like, can you finish reading? But anyways, I had a moment like that today, and it did not make me cry though, but it's this passage. And this book may actually be my favorite one in the series, but Bree is this horse, and he, this is in chapter 1. He's talking to Shasta, I don't know how you say that. I've been saying it Shasta. But anyways, he's talking to him, and he's realizing that the boy does not know how to ride a horse. And he says, okay, I'll have to teach you as we go along. If you can't ride, can you fall? And Shasta says, well, I suppose anyone can fall. And he says, no, I mean, can you fall and get up again without crying, and mount again and fall again, and yet not be afraid of falling? And the boy replies, I'll try. And that just, I thought, oh my goodness, that's so applicable to every area in our life, especially in this business. There will be times that we fall again and again and again as wives, as sisters, as daughters, as mothers, as friends. We are constantly going to be falling off of this horse, but are we able to fall, basically? Are we able to get back up again? I don't know that I can say without crying, because I'll probably do, plenty of crying along the way. But even with all that, are we still able to mount again and fall again and not be afraid of falling? That's the part that really stood with me, is can we keep going? Can we have this grit about us that shows that we're not afraid of the obstacles? We're not afraid of the failures, because they're not failures. That's where growth happens. In our walk with the Lord, in our relationships, as in our business, that's where growth happens. So there's no need to be afraid of the falling, and just to continue experiencing it again and again. So that's my encouragement to y'all, is that, as Shasta says, that you'll say, even if it's through stammering lips, I'll try. And that's all we can do. That's what Autumn has asked for. Very basic in our workout is she just wants our best. It doesn't have to look exactly like her. It doesn't have to look exactly like the cast or even the modifier. She just wants our best. And I think that's what our goal should be in every area of our lives. But just kind of to conclude that, This is my book that I've shared with y'all before. It's wonderful. It's got a lot of prayers in it, but there's this one about success and failure, and I just want to read a little segment in it. It says, this is a prayer. So it says, "You are the God who spoke the world into being, and it's not hard for you to get things done. What you want most from us is not our efforts, but our affection. Help us remember that when we're tempted to strive for perfection. Remind us that success is simply this: love and obedience. That means that when we say yes to you, we cannot fail, no matter how it may seem, no matter how we may feel, no matter what the world may say. Use that truth to free us from the fear of failure that so often holds us back. Help us to spread our wings, to take the risk, to never settle for anything less than your very best. And at the end of our lives, we simply desire to hear this: well done, good and faithful servant. Nothing else matters. So may we live with love, joy, grace, and a determination to never give up on your purpose for our lives." So that is the encouragement that I hope to leave y'all with tonight. And I do recommend that book. If you don't have it, it's great. I need to reread it. But that is all I have for tonight. So I'm going to stop my share and just see if anybody wants to say anything, or if you have any questions. I know a lot of announcements came out yesterday and today for what's coming up ahead. I'm wanting to kind of brainstorm at some point, like ways to share about Daily Sunshine and really get that out there, and provide maybe some kind of group on Facebook that's focused like we did back in the fall on families. I don't know. I'm just kind of thinking through all that. But any questions or any thoughts or comments about anything?
Hey, what's the name of that book? I think I might have missed it before.
31 Days of Prayer for the Dreamer and Doer.
Thank you.
And it's a compilation from a lot of different authors, by Jenny Allen.
I love Jenny Allen.
Jen Sprinkle, Kelly Rucker. It's got, like, every prayer is written by different women. Anything else? Any thoughts, questions? Was that helpful?
Yes.
Mhm.
Good at being motivating even when you're sick.
Well, good. I told Nick, we were driving to the boys' swim lesson earlier, and I said, "Oh, I just hit the point where my head feels detached from my body."
It's the worst.
But anyway, well, thank y'all for being here. I'll go ahead and
Thank you.
this, but I hope y'all have a great Friday. Lauren, I hope your boy gets to feeling better.
Me too. He slept a lot today, so that's good.
Yeah. Well, at least strep's one of those things that at least you know how to fix it.
Yeah, we got his tonsils and adenoids taken out like a year and a half ago because he was getting recurrent strep, and he must be a carrier or something because he gets it a lot more than they said he would. But it's all right.
Yeah. Well, hope that you both get more rest tonight.
Me too. I think we will. We're both very tired.
Okay. Well, I'm going to let Haley end the meeting.
Bye. Have a good night.
You too.
See you later.
Bye, y'all.
Lauren.
Yeah.
Huh?
Lindsay's like, no.
It's like, no.
All right. Good night,
That's the
y'all.
bad thing about doing my workout in the afternoon is there's less time before I have to do it again.
I always feel like Sunday goes by so quickly.
So fast.
Yeah.
I've never enjoyed a rest day like I do this program.
I took my rest day yesterday, so I won't even get one this Sunday. I didn't appreciate it. I spent it on a plane.
Oh.
Okay.
Sad.
Okay, well, I'll talk to y'all later.
Bye.
Good night.
Mhm.